Hi, I'm John Messina, Athletic Director, St. Lucie West Centennial High School, and host of the program Hey Coach. And here we are starting a new year in 2015. Over the summer, the athletic directors throughout the state had to go to a seminar on the West Coast in Venice. One of our big topics was safety for our student athletes. One of the doctors who was talking, obviously was talking about concussions, which is like one of the major problems that we are dealing with in athletics right now, especially in football and in soccer. But what he said kind of struck a chord. As serious as concussions is, sudden cardiac arrest is even more important and could be more serious. I want to introduce my guest tonight, Cheryl Laloo.
Hi, how are you?
And our husband Ray, who have been advocates for AEDs, for sudden cardiac arrest awareness in this county. So we're going to start talking about a few things, and this is a very important show for our student athletes and for our parents to watch. Cheryl, you started the Jessica Clinton Foundation. If you want to get back to how this started and everything, and you know, it's a story that I think needs to be told.
Okay, well, our daughter Jessica Clinton, in 2003, she went to Centennial High School. She was captain of the cheerleading squad, president of student council. Right. She just found out that she won homecoming queen, and they were practicing for homecoming, and she went to get a drink of water, and all of a sudden she went into sudden cardiac arrest. Jessica had many sports physicals prior to that. She actually had 2 in the last 4 months, one just a few weeks prior, and the doctor never detected anything. And that day we lost Jessica on October 2nd. So while we were at the hospital, the doctor came to us and said, you know, didn't they have an AED at the school? And we were like, what's an AED? So we did a lot of research, and we found out that the little small piece of equipment would have given Jessica the chance to have lived. So we started making it our mission. We formed the foundation, and we made it our mission to have AEDs in all the schools. And we had our bill passed, and to make sure that all schools have AEDs, but of course we didn't get all schools. We got
first off, the bill we did was within cooperation with the American Heart Association, and the bill covered all public high schools that participated in the athletic program in the schools. Right. Unfortunately, they did not fund the bill, so even though they made it mandatory, right, schools still had to come up with the money to buy these devices. So that was the second mission, raise money, and we started donating defibrillators to all the schools.
And you have done a wonderful job, not just in St. Lucie County, but throughout the state. I work very closely with the FHSAA, and one of the requirements is that if you're going to host any type of playoff games, right, you must have the AED on campus, on site, wherever you're playing that game. For example, if we're playing a playoff game up at the Met Stadium, I know they have them there, but we have to bring ours also. Right. Our football games at South County Stadium, you know, we always bring them to every football game no matter what. We're very fortunate because you guys have provided us with 4 at Centennial, and we have them all through the school. But any type of playoff game, that is in the rules right now, and that's something that I really want to thank both of you for doing, because it's something that's very needed. As you mentioned, you and myself, because I was present that day, we barely knew what an AED was.
Right.
Now we have training. Every one of our coaches are trained, not just in CPR, right, but in AED training. We had a few situations here in the county where people's lives were saved by coaches that were trained in AEDs. Can you go over that situation at Fort Pierce Central High School a few years ago?
Yeah, I believe he was a volunteer for the school for many, many years. And he was at a football game and went into sudden cardiac arrest. And he, they actually saved him. And we actually went to the hospital and visited him that evening. And it was very rewarding. I remember him looking at me and says, "I will think of your daughter every day now. She gave me that second chance to do things that I needed to do."
Tell me a little bit about Jessica. I know her, but I'd like you to tell our audience out here about Jessica.
Jessica was very ambitious. You know, she was dual enrolled in college already, starting her junior year. She worked full time. She was involved in everything since she was little. And we used to tell her, "Jessica, you can't do everything." And she used to say, "Mom, watch me." And that's why we continue, because we feel that she's always with us, and she gives us that little push that we need every once in a while when things get tough.
What made you start with the AEDs, Ray? What made you start with the AEDs?
It seemed like the obvious choice. I mean, once we found out what the AEDs did, we just couldn't understand why something that relatively was inexpensive as far as we were concerned at that point, and so accessible, why they weren't everywhere. And then we started doing some research, and we said, okay, every government building has AEDs. They have AEDs in airports. So in my opinion, it was like, okay, are you telling us our children aren't as important as, government officials? So, so that's why it became our mission, because I think people just assume because they're young and they look healthy that they're healthy. Well, when you start really looking at the numbers, there are quite a few kids that we lose to sudden cardiac arrest. And it's, especially like in Florida where it's so hot and they're in, extreme heat environments and things like that. Quite honestly, I mean, I think they're doing a better job now, but there was a point where I don't think that the medical field was actually taking that serious of a look in cardiac issues with kids.
When bringing back when I was at that seminar again, and we were all kind of shocked because we knew they were going to go over the concussion. But when the doctor came out who was representing the group from the FHSAA, said, "Wait a minute, I know you're all, concussions are being publicized. We hear it on the news every day. We have a concussion protocol, but you know what? We do not have a heart screening protocol in here." And that's something that, when we get to the end of the show, we'll show you something. Cheryl, can you basically go over what an AED does, just basically, briefly?
What an AED basically does, it just, in easy terms, it just kind of just restarts the heart, gives the heart a little jolt, so that that then that the person could have that chance to make it to the hospital.
And I know when we do our training for our coaches in the county, the training we do with the CPRs, the training we do with the AEDs, Mark Johnson, who does this with everybody, we actually demonstrate the AEDs. Because you know what, I think the biggest thing is you're going to be afraid to do it. You're going to be afraid. But it actually talks you through everything. And those people at Central, they saved that man's life by not being afraid, by saying, hey, if this happens, we're going to be confident we can do it.
Yeah, I actually think it's probably one of the smartest medical devices they've ever created. Because, I mean, an AED will actually sit there and it'll calculate and figure out what's going on with your heart, and it will only provide a shock if needed. If it doesn't, if you can't be resuscitated without, it's not gonna recommend a shock.
What are the costs for an AED?
They vary depending on vendors, but the ones that we usually donate, about $1,500.
And like I said, you were fortunate that you donated. We have 4 at our school. I wish we had more. I know we have them all through the school and locations. The locations are sent out to the teachers at the beginning of the year, and we have the portable one that you brought for the cheerleaders that we bring to all the games right now. Again, it's something that we could be aware of. I do think down the road that the FHSAA, our state governing body for athletics, is going to decree this for every game. You know, to me, what's the difference between a playoff game and a regular game? You know, there's a lot more regular games than
Sure,
playoff games.
sure.
But one of the things that you must fill out if you're going to host a playoff game is, do you have an AED on site, and who is responsible for it? So that's a great step forward for us, okay? Now, something that we really got to talk about, and again, I think our audience out there really needs to listen to this, and this is a great opportunity. We have a heart screening going on, okay? And you have been doing this for how many years?
This will be our 5th.
Our 5th year of having a free heart screening. Usually these heart screenings cost about...
It ranges. I mean, what we do, if you did it in a hospital, would probably average about $4,500 per person.
$4,500.
Yeah.
And we are doing it for?
Free.
For free.
Free, yeah.
Okay? For ages 5 to 20. Now
Right.
let's go over the whole thing, where it's going to be, and then let's go to the importance of the heart screening, okay?
Okay.
You want me?
Yep, go ahead.
Okay,
sorry.
Ray, all yours.
Okay, so this will be our 3rd year that we're doing the heart screening at the St. Lucie County Health Department.
Right, we did it at Centennial one
Right,
year.
we
Right,
did it
the
at
first
Centennial
year.
First year we did it at Centennial.
But the health department just has a perfect facility
Okay.
to keep it, and our heart screens are done, and they're very professional, and we actually do have pediatric cardiologists that come and review the results and look over the EKGs and look over the echoes. So basically what we do is every year when we do the heart screening, we provide a basic physical for the kids, okay? And now, just so you know, the ages are 5 to 20 on these
Right.
screenings. We're not doing adults beyond the age of 20 anyway. So we do a sort of a physical. We take some vitals as far as blood pressure. We check heights. They do a check on the heart with stethoscope, and then we give them an EKG. Now, we do have some information prior to the screening that they fill out, which is a health questionnaire, which talks about if they have any family history or are they taking any certain medications, things like that. So we have a good picture of what's going on when we do these screenings. Once they do the EKGs, the doctors will look it over. They'll see if they need to go any further, if they detect anything. Probably 80% of the EKGs are going to come out normal. After they've been reviewed, probably another 10% will come out normal. But there are going to be several that will need to have echoes just to verify everything, especially the ones that have family history or complain about fluttering of the heart or things like that.
How important is the family history?
Family is pretty important because a lot of heart diseases are passed down through the genes. So things like I don't want to get too technical on it,
Yeah.
but HCM is like a thickening of the wall, of the heart of the
Right.
wall. That is a genetic trait. Okay, Wolff's Parkinson's White is a genetic trait, and that's an electrical malfunction of the heart.
Right.
To simplify it. So there's a lot of things that are passed down, generation to generation. If you ever listen to people talk about, my uncle, my father had a heart attack when he was 50. And now the son's having a heart attack when he's, 45, and so on and so forth. So it's very important to review if you've had a heart condition as an adult and you have a child. It is very important to get your child checked out.
Do you think some people are afraid to take this? Do this?
Can I tell you a story?
Yes, please. Okay.
We go to a lot of these games.
Yes.
We've actually been. I mean, it's been said to us, well, if they find something, they can't play. And people are afraid for various reasons not to do this.
It's almost like you don't want to know.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. And
like ignorance is bliss.
Yes.
Or
It
they
really
won't
is.
get a scholarship. They'll say, well, if they find something, he won't be able to play and he won't get his scholarship. Well, Jessica had scholarships too, but she wasn't able to use it. But I do like to also make sure that I tell people, because I don't want people not to come thinking, oh, they don't have any family history. There was no family history with Jessica. We've all been
Yeah.
tested. There was none at all. She had a severe case of what is called mitral valve prolapse. 18% of all women have mitral prolapse. Hers was a severe case. Most women have it or very minor.
Was there any detection for that, or could that have been detected?
Yeah, it should have been detected.
It should have been. You know,
Okay.
we went through Miami and the doctors there in Miami, and they said, she should have had a clicking. A doctor should have heard a clicking, and
Just with a normal stethoscope.
and they didn't. But again, she was 5'10", she was long green eyed.
Yeah.
She looked very healthy.
Yes.
But just because your child and had no symptoms, so
Yeah.
that's important as well too. So I don't want people to think, well, my kid doesn't have a symptom, or we're all healthy, because we lose a lot of kids. We lose child every 3 days from sudden cardiac arrest. So a lot of them may have no family history. So it's really important.
Now, parents will come to me and say, I got the heart checked out through my physical. What is the difference between the sports physical checking of the heart and the heart screening itself?
Are you, as far as what the doctors are, what are they doing when they get a physical now?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, physicals, and of course every doctor is going to be different, but most physicals do not include an EKG. EKGs are usually something they recommend if, they see a family history, or if they've detected something.
So if they didn't see the family history, they didn't detect it, they wouldn't do
They would not do an EKG. So that is the big difference, and EKG is the first step to really analyzing what's going on in the heart, and not that an EKG finds everything,
Right.
but that's why we also have the echocardiograms in there, because between the two, there's a good percentage that we will detect something at that
Do you
time.
think a lot of people are scared off by the cost?
I don't think that many people really even know the cost, to be honest with you. I mean, I don't think a lot of people are even aware of what they're supposed to do, or what they need to do for a heart screening. I mean, it's when you walk in and get a checkup, and I've been getting checkups my whole life,
Yeah.
I've never had a doctor tell me, have you had EKG done, or they've never even mentioned it. They've just gone and checked here, open here. That's it.
And with
So,
children's, it's less.
yeah,
It's less symptoms
It's less.
being shown.
I mean,
Right.
now they're doing sports physicals around town. Some places are doing them for $20 or whatever.
Yes.
And basically, look over here, touch your toes.
Yeah.
And one thing about the screening too is the physicians that we have there, and not the cardiologists, but also family doctors that we have there as well helping, is they talk to the kids and they listen to them and they ask them questions. And we had a lot of parents that a kid will say, well, when I'm running, my heart kind of races,
Yeah.
and the mother will look at him and say,
So-
you didn't tell me that. And he said, well, I didn't think it was a big deal. Or, kids will, and we always tell the parents, let the child talk, because once you let them talk, they tell you things that they would normally probably not
And
tell
they
your
might
parents.
say, it's not just when I run that my heart races.
Right.
Everybody's heart's going
Sure,
to race a little
sure.
bit when they're running. But if my heart races when I'm getting anxious or things like that, these are
Right.
things we got to know, which is a great point. I know the state has talked about making it part of our athletic physicals, the EKG, but the cost has just been outrageous. So again, this is something we can have this awareness out there. And again,
Yeah, I mean, I think what they really, when they think about doing something like that, they really need to talk to the medical community, because the reality is EKGs can be done fairly inexpensively. And it's just a matter of having the partnership with the medical community, because there's a lot of doctors now that are willing to do EKGs for very low cost. And so it's I think sometimes they just kind of make that assumption that it's going to be costly. But if you partnership with the right people, I think they can have it done. Until then, we're going to keep doing them. But
you guys are great. I mean, I hope this doesn't happen, but maybe in the future we can have the heart screening as publicized as the concussion protocol now. Because now if we have anybody hurt at school with a concussion, anytime we even think there's a concussion or a probability, we have to send them to a neurologist. We're very lucky here at Centennial. We send everybody down to Dr. Kennedy down in Stewart, who's been fabulous for us. And he is on the concussion protocol team for the state. And there's a whole form that they have to fill out and they have to follow, just like the NFL. Once he detects the concussion, or once the concussion is detected. Now, hopefully down the road, without anybody passing away, we can do this something with the heart screening. Maybe that family history could be part of it, that you do have the family history. You know, I'm not a medical person, but there's something that we have to be able to do a little bit more.
The hardest thing with cardiac issues is they don't appear a lot of times until it's, you know, it's critical, especially with young people.
Or where the young people even say it.
Yeah.
Where they come out and say that.
So, so you'll see them walking in the field and they just collapse.
Yes.
But during that time they see fine, you know.
Okay.
So it's a really difficult thing to you know, to even as a coach to notice on the field, you know.
See, if I would talk to my coaches and say, and they would say to me, what are we going to look for? You don't know what to look for.
Yeah.
What you would look for is, did they get the proper heart screening?
Right.
Okay?
Right.
Which kind of leads me into probably the most important part of this show, is to talk about the heart screening on November 7th and how people out there can take advantage of this thing that is absolutely free. I know, you know, my son was the first one in there when we had it at Centennial, but Cheryl, let's go over that and let's go over how we can reach out to the audience, some of the things that I know you're publicizing. I know by doing this show, Greg Wyatt, the owner of WPSL, WSTU, is going to be doing promos about this. I know we have passed out flyers at our football games. We have passed out flyers in all the high schools in the areas. But what can the audience out there actually do now?
Well, we would like them to register their children.
Okay.
And so all they really need to do is just go to Jessica's website, which is just www.jessicaclinton.org, and just click on Know Your Heart, and it just runs you right through. It's very easy to sign up.
Right.
And if there's any problems, my phone number is on there. They can call, and then pass it on. Pass it on to your friends. Pass it on. You know, it's on Facebook. Jessica has a Facebook page, Jessica Clinton. Go on her Facebook and share it with other parents. Because we just don't want to say it's for athletes, because it's not.
It's not.
No.
We lose children from all ages from sudden cardiac arrest, even if they're not, you know, an athlete. So it's really important that just all children, it's there, it's free. There's no reason not to do it.
And how long does it take? How long would it take?
Typically, you're in and out of there within 30 minutes, you know, unless, of course, we detect something.
Right.
But typically, it takes about 30 minutes.
And basically, so we're not scaring anybody out there, what are they actually going to do?
Well, I mean, most of the kids think it's kind of fun,
Yes,
actually.
I know that. I know.
You know,
my son Nick loved it.
Yeah, I mean, because, you know, the machines are not scary or
Right.
anything like that. I
Right.
mean, it's basically you put a few stickers
Yeah.
on them, you know, turn the machine on, it reads, you know, the activity of the heart.
Right.
That's it. You know?
And they go through their background, they go through their
Right.
family history.
Yeah,
and that.
yeah.
And we make it very comfortable.
Oh,
You know,
absolutely. Yeah.
and all the girls, they're all private rooms.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
So they don't have to worry about anything.
Right.
We ask the girls, you know, to wear a sports bra, and you know, it's all privately done. And we have, you know, female nurses and female firefighters, that EMTs who do them. So you're in and out of there. The paperwork is sent to you directly. So all the paperwork, most of it
emailed
is
to you.
is
Right.
already filled out before you get there.
Right.
And you know, it's done very smoothly. And the pediatric cardiologists, some of the top in South Florida, will be there, and they'll talk to you and they'll explain everything to you if needed.
And they're donating their time.
Donating
which
their
is-
time.
which is
Everyone there
absolute-
is donating their time.
So if we have doctors coming, pediatric cardiologists coming from Miami up here and doing this for free, I think we to get parents to bring their children for free.
That's absolutely right.
Because believe me, their time is very valuable.
Absolutely. How many students have you art screened?
I think we're well, since then we're over the 900 mark now. Probably done about 920 something kids so far. And last year we've actually detected was probably our largest amount that we've detected.
Wow.
Typically we detect about 2 to 3% that have any kind of heart defects or anomalies. Last year we actually detected 12 kids that had issues, which was
Without knowing for sure,
yeah.
by taking a guess,
Yeah.
we probably saved a few lives.
Oh,
Well,
absolutely.
we know of a few that's had surgery.
Wow.
We know of. I actually just spoke to one of the cardiologists the other day, and there was one child that that was referred, and they just released him not too long ago to go back to normal activity. So,
What's your goal for the future? What would you like to see this done 5 years from now, 10 years from now?
I would just like that when a child goes into their physician and especially for sports physical, that, at least get an EKG, at least pay attention to that child when they walk in and see, and hopefully not have to do this anymore.
Right.
Our goal is always to catch the children before they need the AEDs.
right.
So,
Yeah.
We hope those AEDs are never used.
Exactly.
Right.
I know, I always tell that to we have EMTs come to our football games,
Right.
and I say, if you guys don't move off that bench, I'm going to be the happiest guy in the field
Sure,
all night.
sure.
But that's something, and just wrapping everything up, I can't thank you guys enough. Sometimes out of tragedy, good things happen, and you have provided beautiful things for this community. Cheryl, we've been friends for a long time now, and Jessie was always special to me and to everybody at school. She's always going to have a special place at Centennial and in the community. The park right down the street from my house is named after her.
Right.
And, every time I take my walks going by there, I always think of her. Reaching out to the audience, please take advantage of this. Go to the Jessica Clinton website, contact anybody at any of the high schools. It's November 7th.
right.
It's a very, very worthwhile thing, and hopefully everybody can take advantage of it. So this was a great segment of our show, Hey Coach, and we're going to see everybody next month.